Well, Sadiq, I know this has been kind of a wild month, I guess. It's a weird stretch of not knowing if you're going to fight, changing opponents, all that. I guess what's this experience been like for you?
That's a fact, man. It's definitely been a very, very crazy, especially the last 2 weeks. I showed up not knowing if I was going to fight or not, and then that same day I was hearing I was fighting. I was hearing I wasn't fighting. I was hearing I was fighting again. Different weight class. All right, now you're fighting in 2 weeks. But here we are.
When did you know for sure that you weren't fighting on the 17th, right? Because you thought even on fight week it might happen, right?
Yeah, I didn't know for sure until I'll probably say that Tuesday or maybe even Wednesday, to be honest, because on Tuesday they still told me that I had to fight with Don, and then they asked for a different weight class. They asked for 150, then they asked for 155, and then once it was solidified that I think Hani Yahya and Cody Garbrandt wasn't fighting, I think that's when they was like, all right, you're officially not fighting. You're gonna fight in 2 weeks.
What was this 2 weeks like then? Once you know it gets moved, I mean, because the whole thing is like peaking and training and all the balance, right? So what was this like for you?
Very, very hungry. That's what it's been like, man. It's like by the time you show up to fight week, you're kind of already water loading, and that's the point that I was at, and then now you find out like, all right, you're still not gonna get to eat for like two more weeks. You before fight week, you're kind of already you got the meals planned out, man. You're like, all right, next week I'm gonna eat this, eat this, eat this, eat this. But it is what it is, man. 2 more weeks of sacrifice, just maintaining my weight, There's not much more I can add on when it comes to conditioning. It's just about maintaining where you're at and trying to game plan, for as much as you can for a new guy.
All right, so you're fighting a top 10 guy, and then it goes to a newcomer, right? I mean, I guess the idea is you got to fight to get paid.
Exactly. That's you took the words right out of my mouth. I gotta go get my check. And to be honest, like the pay was a big motivator, but outside of that too, I took the fight with Giga like maybe like 4 months in advance. Like it was a long time before when I signed the fight, and we put in a lot of work. I can't let all that go to waste. Like that, I gotta get something at the end of the day.
Is there danger of a letdown at all? Like obviously when you're top 10, you're like, yeah, this is gonna move me up, to like newcomer. I mean, do you have to be careful not to have some kind of a letdown, maybe?
No, there is no letdown, man. This is a very crazy game. I try not to underestimate anybody. So I treat this guy the same way I treat Giga, the same way I'll treat anybody in there. Every single one of my fight, I try to look at it like, hey, this is for the belt, So it's definitely not a letdown. Once we get the fight over and done with, then we can look into the future. But for now, this guy's the main priority.
I guess you got a little bit of time to study him, or did you? I mean, what have you seen in his game? What do you think about Don as an opponent?
Yeah. I think he's a grinder. He throws a lot of looping shots and tries to get in there in your face and tries to grind you out. And like I said, everybody I fight, I'm a big believer in watching film. I'll never be the guy that come in there and be like, hey, let's just wing it. Like ever since I was an amateur, I've always been a film studier. Even when my guy's only film was like wrestling footage in high school or something, or jiu-jitsu tournament, I'll watch it and see what I could pick up from it. So the moment they told me who I was fighting, I thought I was gonna fight him in like 3 days. I cram session. It's time to see what this guy does. But then 2 weeks, I think I had enough time to pick apart a game.
Nice. Last thing for me, I guess, win here. What's the goal? I mean, because this time, now you feel like you need some time off, or is it like, let's try to get another, ranked opponent booked ASAP? Like, what's the plan?
It depends on how clean I come out. If I could come out very clean, I would definitely like to have something scheduled by the end of the year.
Hey, Sadiq. How does it feel to be active again, man? It's the first time you've had 2 fights since 2019.
Yeah. Like I said, that's why I was like, I have to get a fight. I wasn't gonna just sit out. Because the last time my inactivity was things that was out of my control. Now that it's in my control, there's no way I was gonna let it slip by. So I was like, man, I need to find an opponent.
I know last time you were here, you talked about your bad case of COVID.
Yeah.
Are you finally over that?
Yeah. I haven't had any hiccups or scares, and the camp before that I had maybe 1 or 2 bad days, but I haven't had anything happen in a while. So I think all the symptoms have been gone since the fight before this.
Awesome, that's awesome to hear. And then Mike Davis is on the card with you, and
yeah, I saw that.
and I don't know, you and his fight, still the best fight.
They don't give us enough credit for that, man. I think like they gotta solidify that. The UFC need to put it on their page. The best fight in Contender Series history: Sodiq Yusuff versus Mike Davis. I'm surprised they didn't post that on like their UFC page or something. You know?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It is by far the best fight on the series. But I just wanted you to reflect on that fight a little bit.
Yeah, that was, man. To be, I heard there's not gonna be any media people this weekend, and that was one of the biggest things that I always took away from that fight. Like that fight felt so cool because it felt like sparring. You know, it was so quiet in there, and the way me and him were two exciting strikers. So every time we connected, the camera was just picking it up. You know, and we could hear our coaches I could hear his coaches perfect. I'm sure he could hear my coaches perfect, and it was just a fun, exciting matchup. There's a reason why both of us are in the UFC now, you know. To be honest, on that night, if they had just switched us and give us the other guys, it might not have been as exciting as it was. But that's one of those things. I just want my credit, man. I mean, we deserve our credit. Give us the best Contender Series fight in history: Sodiq Yusuff versus Mike Davis.
Absolutely. And then finally, I just wanted your thoughts on the featherweight division. It's kind of stuck at the moment. If you were the matchmaker, who do you think deserves the next title fight?
To be honest, this is a lot better than it was a few years ago. At least things are moving. There was a time where like none of us was able to fight each other. I remember before I got the Arnold Allen fight, like all of us were just like in limbo. But at least now people are getting matched up. Like featherweight is one of those weight classes from 1 to like 15. If you just pick a name out of a hat, you're gonna get good matchups, you know. But when it comes to who deserves the title shot, Emmett makes a really good case, and so does Jair. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no boring matchups at 145. I don't think featherweight gets the credit it deserves. At the top 15, like I said, just shake the names up and pick them out of a hat. You're gonna get a good fight.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you.